Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful day. In today's video, we're going to dive into a heartfelt story about Alex, the moment he gathers the courage to propose to Tuna, only to face an unexpected rejection because of his mother's disapproval and a secret from Tuna's past. It's a tale of love, family, and the struggles that test the strength of the heart. If you enjoy this kind of story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. The sky was bruised with the weight of coming rain, its grey clouds rolling like Alex's own unspoken thoughts. He drove slowly, John beside him, when his eyes caught a familiar figure moving along the roadside. It was Tuna, her frame slim, her steps weary, as if the day's work at the market had drained the last of her strength. His heart jolted, that old ache rushing back. He pulled the car over, lowering his voice into something soft, almost careful. "Let me take you home." For a moment, Tuna stood still, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. Then a raindrop fell, darkening her sleeve, and she gave the smallest nod. She climbed in, closing the door, sealing them both into a fragile space where words hovered, yet remained unsaid. The rain thickened quickly, drumming on the roof, blurring the windshield like a curtain drawn just for them. They sat close, only inches apart, yet the silence between them carried the weight of months. Alex stole a glance at her. Her hand rested over the necklace at her chest, as if drawing strength from it. His grip tightened on the wheel, the flame of hope flickering stubbornly inside him. They stopped at Mrs. Tang's house, where Tuna's child was asleep. Alex carefully handed over a small gift, bowing with quiet gratitude for all Mrs. Tang had done. She looked at him with softened eyes, sensing something deeper beneath his gesture. Tuna, watching from the side, felt something stir within her like a raindrop sliding down glass, clear but impossible to hold. Later, on the drive back toward the farm, the car was filled with more silence. Outside, rain poured relentlessly, but inside there was a strange warmth, two hearts searching for a bridge. Each drop on the windshield reflected Alex's longing, a steady, vulnerable rhythm guiding him through the storm. By the time they reached the farm, night had already taken hold. Crickets sang, their hums like a soft orchestra in the dark. Alex opened the door, leading Tuna inside. With gentle arms, he carried her sleeping child to a small bed, tucking the blanket with a tenderness he couldn't voice. The baby's breaths came steady, untouched by the heaviness surrounding the adults. In the kitchen, Tuna moved quietly, washing vegetables, rinsing rice. Alex joined her, sleeves rolled, knife in hand, their shoulders brushed once, a fleeting touch that made the air warmer than the stove's flame. Garlic and rice filled the room with a homely scent, turning the moment into something that felt almost like a rehearsal for a life not yet theirs. Dinner was simple, steaming soup, warm eggs and soft rice, but the atmosphere wrapped around them with something more intimate than any feast. Tuna complimented his cooking, and Alex laughed, a sound that eased the tension. He passed her another helping, almost as if feeding her was a promise. Their conversation drifted toward his mother. Alex spoke gently, mentioning how she missed Tuna, how she still longed to see the child again. Tuna lowered her gaze, her voice barely a whisper. "It's been too long." The silence that followed pressed in, heavy yet not empty. Alex set down his chopsticks, his voice trembling, though he willed it steady. "I'll wait for your answer, however long it takes. I promise I'll take care of you and of your child." Tu Na's eyes shimmered in the dim light, tears held back by sheer restraint. "I need more time," she whispered. The meal continued, but every grain of rice tasted of longing. The clatter of dishes couldn't cover the fragile promise hanging between them. In that dim kitchen, two souls circled each other, forming something unspoken, fragile, but undeniably present. Morning came with soft gold spilling across the farm. Alex drove slowly along the winding road, Tu Na beside him, her child in her arms. The closer they came to his family home, the louder his heartbeat grew, not from nerves about business or land, but from the weight of what he was about to do. The house came into view, its wooden beams weathered yet familiar. On the porch stood his mother, her face lined by time, but lit with welcome. She embraced Tu Na and the child as though they had always belonged there, her voice warm, her eyes soft. Inside, tea was poured. They spoke lightly about the baby's health, about the farm, about years past. Yet beneath their words, an unspoken current flowed, a deeper question waiting to surface. Finally, Alex found his moment. He drew in a breath, steady as if preparing for a business deal, though his heart was trembling with love. "Mother," he said, voice low but clear, "I want to marry Tu Na. I want to build not only this farm, but a family with her child." The room grew still. His mother's eyes shone, but she didn't answer at once. The silence stretched, heavy with decades of her wisdom and worry. Then at last, she nodded slowly. "Yes," she said. "Let's prepare a wedding worthy of you both." Relief rushed through Alex like cool rain after a long drought. His chest loosened, joy swelling until it threatened to spill over. Tu Na lowered her gaze, her hands trembling as they wrapped around her teacup. A warmth spread through her chest, something fragile but real, like the sense of safety taking root for the first time in years. The room seemed to shift, not by light nor furniture, but by permission. A mother's blessing had been given. The wedding, once a fragile dream, now stood like a sapling reaching towards sunlight. As the day wore on, conversation softened, hope circling them like invisible threads. The air in the house seemed to hum with the beginning of something new, fragile yet undeniable. By evening, the amber light bathed the walls, shadows stretching long. The child slept peacefully in a cradle, his tiny breaths a lullaby to the room. Alex sat beside Tu Na, silence pressing between them like a stone. But this silence wasn't empty, it was the pause before something larger. He turned to her, eyes steady, heart bare. "I will wait," he repeated, but this time the words weren't just his. With his mother's blessing, they were alive, rooted. Tu Na looked at him, her gaze carrying storms and doubts from the past, memories of nights when she cradled her child alone. Yet woven into that pain were gentler recollections. Alex carrying heavy crates for her, Alex bowing to Mrs. Tang, Alex switching on a fan so her baby could sleep soundly. Small acts, ordinary moments, yet stronger than her fears. "I won't avoid you anymore," she said, her voice trembling. It wasn't a vow, not yet, but it was a door creaking open. Alex's face softened, gratitude rushing through him like a farmer harvesting the first fruit of spring. Night deepened, but in that room, a quiet flame burned, fragile but real. Two lives that had walked separately now edged closer, weaving a future that shimmered with possibility. The next morning rose clear, the storm washed away, leaving behind a sky bright with promise. Alex woke earlier than usual, nerves prickling beneath his calm exterior. He had made his decision. Today he would finally propose to Tu Na. He found her in the courtyard, hanging freshly washed clothes on a line. Her hair was caught by the morning light, strands glowing like threads of gold. The child toddled nearby, laughing at a butterfly dancing just out of reach. It was a picture so ordinary, yet so perfect, that Alex's heart clenched with longing. Walking toward her, he steadied his breath. "Tu Na," he began, his tone unusually formal. "There's something I want to say." She turned, sensing the weight in his voice. The breeze lifted the edge of her sleeve as she waited. Alex bent slightly, hand in his pocket, fingers closing around the velvet box he had hidden for weeks. "I've thought of this moment every day," he continued, his voice deep with emotion. "I don't want to keep waiting anymore. You and your child, you've become my world. I want to build a life with you. Will you marry me?" He opened the box. The ring gleamed softly, catching the light like a quiet promise. Tu Na froze, her breath caught in her throat. For a second she saw it, the life he painted with his words, a home filled with warmth, her child safe in strong arms, herself no longer alone. Her eyes shimmered, but before she could speak, footsteps sounded behind them. Alex's mother had appeared on the veranda, her face shadowed by a gravity Tu Na had never seen before. "Alex!" she called, her voice sharp enough to cut through the fragile moment. "Stop this!" The air cracked. Alex turned, confusion etching his features. "Mother?" She walked closer, her eyes never leaving Tu Na. "You mustn't do this," she said firmly. "You cannot marry her." Tu Na's lips parted, but no words came. The child, sensing the tension, clung to her skirts. Alex's voice rose with urgency. "Why not?" "You gave me your blessing. Why change your mind now?" His mother's gaze softened for a heartbeat, then hardened again with the weight of truth. "Because there is something you do not know about her past." The world seemed to tilt. Alex frowned, stepping protectively in front of Tu Na. "What could possibly matter more than what I feel for her now?" Her mother's words came slowly, each one striking like a stone. "She has a child, yes, but not by a husband who died, not by some tragic story you imagined. She bore that child with a man who still lives, a man she left behind. She's not free in the way you believe." The words fell heavy. Silence stretched. The morning air, once bright, turned suffocating. Alex turned to Tu Na, his eyes desperate for denial. "Is this true?" Tu Na's shoulder trembled. She pressed her child closer, her lips pale. For a long moment she said nothing, caught between shame and the fragile truth she had long buried. Finally, in a voice almost inaudible, she whispered, "Yes, it's true." The ground seemed to vanish beneath Alex's feet. His hand fell from the velvet box, the ring trembling in his palm. His breath came uneven, torn between the love that burned inside him and the betrayal he suddenly felt. His mother's tone softened, but her resolve did not. "My son, love is not blind. Marriage binds families, not only hearts. If you tie yourself to her, you tie yourself to a past she cannot escape. Do you want a life of whispers, of disgrace?" Alex clenched his fists. "Disgrace? For loving her? For loving a child who deserves a father?" His voice cracked with rawness. Tu Na's tears slipped silently down her cheeks. She wanted to reach for him, to beg him not to listen, but her strength faltered. All she could manage was a broken whisper. "I never meant to deceive you. I thought if I stayed quiet, maybe you'd accept me as I am." The silence that followed was unbearable. Alex looked between his mother and Tu Na, his heart tearing in two directions. Finally, he closed the velvet box, the sound echoing like a door slamming shut. "I need time," he said hoarsely. "I can't. Not like this. Not when everything has been kept from me." He walked away, each step heavy, his shoulders rigid against the breaking storm inside him. Tu Na watched him go, her body shaking, her child pressing into her arms as if sensing her sorrow. The world blurred through her tears. For a moment, she wanted to run after him, to beg for forgiveness, but her legs refused to move. The weight of her past pressed her still. Alex's mother stood silently, her expression unreadable. She had spoken her truth, but she knew the wound it left in her son's heart would take more than time to heal. That night, the farm lay in quiet darkness. Tu Na sat by the window, her child asleep in her lap. She stared into the fields, the moonlight silvering the orchard leaves. She remembered the look in Alex's eyes, the hope, then the hurt. She had never wanted to crush that hope, yet the truth had stolen its chance to bloom. Across the farmhouse, Alex sat alone at the kitchen table. The velvet box lay before him, unopened now, a symbol of what might have been. His mind replayed every moment, the laughter in the kitchen, the warmth of Tu Na's touch, the promise he had made to wait. And yet, his mother's voice echoed just as loud, warning him of a life tied to secrets. He pressed his palms to his face, torn apart. He loved her, he knew that with certainty. But love was no longer enough. It had been fractured by truths he couldn't ignore. In the silence of that night, two hearts beat separately, bound by love yet divided by the shadows of the past. The days that followed blurred together. Alex threw himself into work at the farm, his hands blistered, his back aching, but his thoughts never leaving Tu Na. Each morning, he woke hoping to see her at the courtyard. Each night, he lay awake imagining the life they almost had. Tu Na, meanwhile, withdrew into herself. She still cared for her child, still helped around the house, but her laughter was gone. Every time she caught Alex's gaze, she saw the distance in his eyes, the distance her past had carved. It was a quiet torment, one neither of them knew how to bridge. Yet beneath all the silence, something fragile still lingered. Alex remembered her whispered words, "I never meant to deceive you." And he knew, despite everything, she had spoken from a place of fear, not malice. And Tu Na remembered his promise, "I'll take care of you and your child." Though the future seemed broken now, those words glowed faintly in the dark, refusing to fade. The story didn't end that night. It couldn't. Not while hope, no matter how fragile, still lived in the quiet corners of their hearts. Alex's story begins on a rainy evening when he crosses paths with Tu Na, a woman carrying both beauty and a hidden past. Their quiet moments together grow into something tender, shared meals, laughter, and silent promises of a future. Encouraged by love, Alex finally decides to propose, ready to embrace not only Tu Na but also her child. Yet, just as the ring is revealed, his mother steps in, forbidding the marriage. She exposes the truth Alex never knew. Tu Na's child was not from a lost love, but from a man still living. The revelation shatters Alex, leaving him torn between devotion and family duty. Tu Na, heartbroken, struggles with shame, yet still longs for acceptance. What remains is a fragile hope, a question of whether love can endure secrets and find its way back to light.